Our story began in 1991. Over time, the mortgage industry has experienced many changes, but our core values here at CIS have always remained the same: character, integrity, and service. You don't need to be a mortgage expert to get a great financial plan, you just need to work with one. Our focus and dedication have allowed us to help thousands of families reach their dream of home ownership. Whether it be refinancing your current home, buying a manufactured home, or purchasing investment property, we have a product for you. We invite you to find out more by visiting our website at cishomeloans.com or like us on Facebook. CIS Home Loans, mortgage loans made simple, equal housing lender.
Hour has arrived and we'll call our meeting to order at this time. Got just a few things we want to do before we really get moving to our meeting. First, we'd like to welcome our guests tonight. We have a number of distinguished guests in our audience tonight, and we thank each of you for coming, as well as some of our department heads are here with us tonight, and of course our distinguished attorney Scott Hunt is with us tonight. We appreciate Scott very much. We don't do anything unless Scott tells us to do it, and he always guides us in the right direction. Just threw that in for good measure. Seriously, this past weekend we had a number of folks come to Hamilton, Alabama. A lot of them for the first time. Around 1,200 people, outsiders, were here with us for the ramp activities, as well as our travel ball tournaments, and we had probably at least 1,000 people, if not 1,200 people, and I hope we made a good impression on them if they were here for their very first time. And we always need to be aware that these folks are throughout the spring and summer, they're going to be coming our way, and we always need to make our best impression on these folks because we want them to enjoy themselves while they're here, show them a good time, and invite them to come back. Some of them might even get interested enough to think about our community as another home for them sometime in their lifetime. See something here they really like, and I have had folks tell me that they like our area and they could grow to love it, and they think so. That makes me feel real good. In the way of business tonight, I wanted to mention some reappointments to our industrial board. I met with them prior to this meeting. They're trying to get back on schedule since the COVID has been here. They've been sporadic with their meetings, but they're trying to get back on their monthly meeting schedule. And we have reappointments tonight of active members. That would be David Hall, Ann West, and Wade Nixon have agreed to stay on the industrial board and serve another term. And we lost a member last year who had prior engagements, could not continue to serve, and Andrea Harbison will be the replacement new appointee to the industrial board to replace the person we lost from that board. So these four will be serving for additional terms, and they do a great job along with others like Mr. Sonny Nix, Tony Avery, Mike Schatz, others. I believe Brent Thompson's a member of that organization also, and they do a fine job serving as our industrial board over our parks, both the Bedford Park and the I-22 industrial parks. Helping us make decisions when there's decisions to be made. Want to announce also that there will be an absolute auction of the Sitel building at the end of this month. 30th, I believe, is going to be the sale date on that. 20 acres of land, 43,000 square foot brick building designed primarily for an office building. It could be probably modified to serve some other purpose, but it was primarily an office building. But that sale will take place, and I've heard there's some interest we'll probably be on standby just in case it's gonna be a gift to someone. The city might even, make a bid. We'll decide before the 30th if we wanna, stand by with a bid that we can agree upon. We'll definitely need one of you guys there to honor a bid for us in case it's gonna be a gift to an investor or something.
What's the day, what day is that?
We hate to see 20 acres of land get away from us and without a specific purpose. So we'll decide if we want to bid. If there's definitely others that can use the property for a good purpose, and we don't want to get in their way, but we just want to do a protective bid because it is coming out of our Bedford Park over there, and that is something we need to at least be ready to protect. Before we go any further into the meeting, I'd like for us to stand together and have an invocation, and then our pledge of allegiance, and then we'll get started with our official meeting. Let's pray. Father in heaven, we pause at this time of day to just give you thanks for this day of life. Lord, we thank you for the blessings that you bestow upon our community. Help us when we meet, Lord, is for the city's purpose to do its business, Lord, that we would conduct it in a manner that's pleasing to you. Lord, we ask that you continue to help us as we strive to grow this city, to have more opportunities and more business for our city, that it might show up at our door, Lord, through your hand. We ask you now to guide us as we go through our lives and protect us from all harm. In Christ's name, amen. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, in the way of business tonight, we have a recommendation to approve the minutes of the March 1, 2021 council meeting. And we need a motion to approve our minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Ross made the motion. We need a second.
I'll second.
Matt made the second. All those in favor of approving those minutes? Thank you. None were opposed. At this time, I would like to ask Mr. Les Walters to come front and center, please.
This wasn't on the agenda.
It's on mine.
Thank you, Les. This is a proclamation from the city of Hamilton, Alabama. Whereas the city of Hamilton, and most especially its mayor, council members, employees, and residents, enjoy many years of great service provided by James Leslie Walters as editor of the Journal Record, and will suffer greatly from his absence due to his well-deserved retirement. And whereas the city of Hamilton finds that it is appropriate to recognize in a tangible and permanent manner an invaluable contribution of James Leslie Walters to the city of Hamilton, Marion County. Whereas James Leslie Walters is married to Sherry Gelden Walters with 2 loving children, Sloan and Chance, and 3 grandchildren, Thad, Crosby, and Brecken. Whereas James Leslie Walters graduated from Red Level High School in Covington County, Alabama, before entering Troy State University, where he graduated in 1978 as the Hall School of Journalism and Communications Outstanding Graduate of the Year. Whereas James Leslie Walters moved to Hamilton in 1979 and began the Hamilton Progress, and then to the Journal Record, where he remained as editor until his retirement November 2019. Whereas James Leslie Walters, during His newspaper career received numerous media awards from the Alabama Press Association, including the APA Feature Story of the Year. Whereas James Leslie Waters provided invaluable service to the city of Hamilton, its civic clubs, its athletic boosters, and citizens by providing many hours of his time. Whereas due to this service, James Leslie Waters was named Kiwanis Citizen of the Year and President of the CJs and an inductee of the Marion County Sports Hall of Fame. Whereas in 2021, due to his many years of service, the Alabama Press Association awarded James Leslie Waters with a Lifetime Achievement Award. Now therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Hamilton, Alabama, that we are honored by the service of James Leslie Waters and his receipt of the highest acclaimed Lifetime Achievement Award, and by copy of this resolution, we extend our efforts to memorialize this honor. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to James Leslie Waters so that he may know of this honor and our unreserved and unmitigated respect and regard for James Leslie Waters.
Thank you.
Before you leave tonight, me and the city clerk want to attest my signature. We want to hand this over to you, okay?
Thank you. Thank you. That wasn't on the agenda.
Those whereases get my tongue a little twisted. The message is there, brother. Well deserved. Tonight, we have our special guest with us tonight, Dr. Joel Haygood. He's president of the Bevel Community College. He comes from a perfect background to do a marvelous job in his now post. His educational background is second to none. I don't have his bio, but he comes highly recommended. All his peers talk good about him. You don't get that kind of report unless you deserve it. Dr. Haygood, we want you to come and meet our council and address us tonight. If you will, just come to the podium and take as much time as you need to speak with us tonight about your goals and whatever you think the college is going to be doing in its future.
Thank you, Mayor Page, City Council members. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you tonight and speak with you. But I didn't know, Mayor, I was going to be following a local legend. I don't know that I can quite measure up, but I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Walters earlier today. We spent about an hour with each other, so had a really good conversation. So if there's something that I'm going into here that you'd like for me to pause and discuss a little more, I'll be more than happy to do that. So I don't know if some of you, Mayor Page, you probably did, got to participate in our stakeholder meeting that we had a couple of weeks ago. So I thought I would did anybody else get to participate in that other than the mayor? Probably. I didn't think so. So I figured I would give them just a good, thorough state of the college that I shared with the stakeholders that day. And once again, like I said, if I get into something here and you want me to pause. But let me start with saying it's an honor. It's an honor for me to be in the position as president of Bevel State Community College. I'll tell you a little bit about my background. I come from the K-12 world. I grew up in Walker County. I grew up in Oakman, Alabama, a small southern Walker County town, where I graduated from Oakman High School, later come back there as a teacher and a coach. My former principal actually hired me back. So I had the pleasure of teaching government and history there for 6 years, and also coaching everything under the sun, Big Three, football, basketball, and baseball, middle school level and high school level. Served as an athletic director, went on and became an assistant principal at K through 8 school, later an assistant principal at 7 through 12 school, and then later returned to Oakland High School as principal, where I served in that capacity for 7 years. In 2011, I went to our central office as an assistant superintendent, director of curriculum, and then in 2018, I ran and was elected as superintendent of Walker County Schools. Never saw this opportunity coming. My entire 24-year career had been there in Walker County, but when the Bella State position opened up, it was just an opportunity I could not pass up to apply, and of course was very fortunate enough to get the job, obviously. So that's a little bit about me. I come from a family of, I'm one of 4. I have 2 older brothers and an older sister, so I'm the youngest of 4. We were raised by a block mason with a stay-at-home mom, so I had a very good upbringing, and that's, as Mayor Page pointed out, many degrees, but that's the best education I ever got, was working with my dad every summer. It for sure told me that was something I didn't want to do for the rest of my life. So I went on to college, and here I am before you today. I'm married to the former Jennifer Guthrie. Her father is Jerry Guthrie. Some of you may recognize that name. He has been a revenue commissioner in Walker County for about 30 years. She is a pharmacist there locally with an independent Health Mart pharmacy. And we have 2 beautiful, healthy children, Anley, who is 11, and Breck, who is 9. So they keep me plenty busy. I don't know a lot of times whether I'm coming or going, what practice I need to be at. That's a little bit about me. The state of the college, of course, in the middle of the pandemic, we welcomed students back on January the 25th for the first time in almost a year. I really wasn't thinking about that when the students come back. And I got to talking to some of the teachers around. Of course, I was welcoming the students back on campus, and you know, a group of young ladies were coming in together, and they stopped me, and they're just like, "We're so glad to be back. You know, we haven't been here since February of last year." And then in talking to some of the instructors, they were like, "You know, Dr. Haygood, we're a little bit rusty because we haven't had an audience of students in front of us for almost a year." And it just dawned on me, you know, that's true. But they were excited to be back. Ross could probably attest to that. He's one of our best and brightest as an ambassador down here at the Hamilton campus. You know, connectivity in rural Marion County is probably like it is in rural Fayette County and rural Walker County. In some areas it's spotty at best. So it was tough on a lot of our students to get the connectivity to do the online instruction. So definitely glad to be back. And we were glad to have them back, to have the vitality and life back on our campuses again. And then another adjustment was having all the sports at one time. You know, we've never had that.
Hey.
My friend, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Great, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
You know, we're playing basketball and baseball and volleyball and all of them at one time. That was something that took some getting used to. And once again, not really sure if I knew I was coming or going, calling Max all the time to find out what's going on tonight or today and where we're playing. But we took all the necessary precautions to mitigate the risk. We hand sanitizing stations, them coming back on staggered schedules so we could properly social distance, all of those things that most of you have grown accustomed to, limited capacity at events, all of that, and doing what we needed to do. So excited though that as the vaccine becomes more and more prevalent, and I think the Chancellor, Scott, did you say he announced it today?
It was late last week, I think.
Okay, but that announcement was made, he had told us, but I didn't want to say anything until he made the announcement that we are going back full throttle in the fall. So I know everybody's going to be excited about that. But the pandemic did hasten a lot of changes, you know, in moving forward that we have got to look at, you know, with online instruction, obviously, and as on the legislative agenda, of course, we're hoping this moves forward, it gains legs and it moves forward. I think it was attached to the gaming bill that recently got shot down, but if ever more than before, we know now that we've got to get fiber to the end of the road in these rural areas. And I know that's something that's on your mind up here. I've been with Steve Foshee before. That rural broadband issue is something that's got to be addressed in moving forward, and hopefully they can work that out at the state level. So it really hastened a lot of changes for us and forced us to get outside of our comfort zone a little bit. So it wasn't all a bad thing in adjusting to that and moving forward, and how we can improve things and provide better opportunities for our students in moving forward. Here on our campus, and enrollment is down. That shouldn't come as any surprise. Just a few numbers to share with you. In the fall, the average enrollment's about 3,770 students. We have 3,204, so that's off by about 566 students. And then in the spring, the average is around 3,440, and the enrollment when I looked at it this morning was at 2,946. That's off by almost 494 students. But don't panic. That's across the board in the state. That's to be understood with what we've been in and coming out of across the states. The student enrollment's down about 9,000 students. So, but as we're coming back, we know that we're going to get those students back. We'll try to stay in close contact with them, you know, how we can help them during the pandemic, and of course we'll continue to do that and welcome them back to campus, hopefully, as I said earlier, full throttle in the fall. So don't let that panic you that the numbers are down. They're down statewide. But a lot of good things going on. I know you're most interested in the Hamilton campus. The Appalachian Regional Grant, we received that, $1.5 million where we can turn our welding facility into a rapid training center like the one in Jasper. We are working on our match for that. There is a certain percentage match required, which we're well on our way to having that. Talked with Dr. Hartley about that just the other day. We also have the HVAC propane crossover training going on our campus also. That's well on the way. And just all the other opportunities that are there and exist. I just continue to be impressed. I told Les that today in our session. When I come on the campus, you can just tell, I've been there 3 times now. You know, the floors are always so clean. It's like you can see your reflection in it. You go around to the different instructors, you can sense their passion and their pride in their courses and their students and what they do. So I continue to be impressed with the Hamilton campus. I see nothing but great things on the horizon and in the future, and plenty of opportunities to grow that. I talked to, just because Les stopped by, I had the opportunity to discuss it with him. I spoke a little bit with your boss there at the pharmacy. His name is Cole. We had an opportunity to talk. I really look forward to speaking with Ann and Chris Cook and the different ones in the areas of how we can really, business and industry leaders, as I look at the Marion County community as a whole, you know, 3M, NTN, what was Continental Conveyor, you know, the list goes on and on. Tom Beebe, with Steve Foshee and his group. There's a lot of business and industry. I like to meet C3, spoke with this lady earlier. Also, plenty of opportunity in this area for us to expand and grow what we're doing at Bethel State. You are primed in this area. Mayor Page, I hope it's okay for me to mention the meeting I attended about 3 weeks ago, where there was a group in this room talking about maybe the transformation of the current prison that's here. There's a lot of different models out there. I do believe that Representative Estes is on to something there that can be very beneficial and fruitful to this area. Bethel State very much wants to be a partner. We very much want to be the catalyst for that economic growth and opportunity. You've got I-22. You're a rural area that's been able to hang on to your hospital. You've got Bell State here in your community. As I said earlier, multiple business and industries around the Marion County area. I see the future as being very bright here. So I want to put everyone's mind at ease that there is nothing on my list but an expectation to grow and expand what we've got going on at the Hamilton campus of Bell State. You can rest assured of that. But I need you. I need you as a partner. A partner's not one. Okay, that's more than one. So I need you. I need the business and industry. I need our K-12 partners for us to be able to do that and move it forward and to grow it into what I think it can be in the future. So a lot of other good things going on in some of our other areas. You may or may not want to hear about that in the Jasper campus, the Summit campus, and the Fed campus. I'll be more than glad to share that with you if you do. Dual enrollment opportunities. That's one of the areas I speak of, wanting to meet with Ann and Chris Cook. They're boundless. I met with 3 superintendents in the last couple of weeks in different school systems within our service area. Each one of them are working on partnerships and agreements to expand that. There's no reason that we shouldn't be doing that here in the Marion County area as well. So I look forward to having those conversations with my former colleagues and seeing what we can do to make that happen here in the Marion County area as well. A couple of the other things, strategic plan that we're working on. It's a great time. I walked into a situation where Bell State had just went through their SACS, that's their accrediting agency, SACS COC process. So they had gathered a ton of data in that process. They also were in the middle of the Chancellor's Aspire 2030 initiative. I'll speak more about that in just a minute, but that was also another self-evaluation and analysis where they were collecting data. Point being this, they had a ton of quantitative and qualitative data and a great opportunity with a new president coming in to have that anew and fresh opportunity to develop that strategic plan moving forward. So we are in that work right now, and I cannot emphasize enough how important that is. Business owners in this room, school system leaders and others, you got to have a mission. What is your purpose to begin with? You know, that's your roadmap to success. If you don't have that, then you're just all over the place. What do you value? What do we value? And you're going to hear me say this a lot, as your community college. You know, that name, community college. We're here for you and to serve you. What do we value and what do we believe in as a college community? And then the vision. Where do we want it to go? Where do we want to take it in the future? So that work is extremely important, and that's the work we're in the middle of right now. I'm about to gather some different leadership teams from our different campuses, and we're about to move to the next phase. My goal is to have that in place by the fall semester and well communicated to all of our service area communities. Some of you have probably been involved or asked to participate in surveys as a stakeholder that's in this room, as community leaders and business leaders. If you didn't, you may get your opportunity in the near future, so don't feel left out. But there were 3 main themes from all that data I mentioned earlier, from the quantitative and qualitative data that our team already has in place. You're going to hear these 3 terms a lot as we move forward with our strategic plan. Number 1 is connect. Connect. That means communication, relationships, partnerships with our college community at large. You know, overwhelmingly, when I walked in the door, whether it was internally or externally, just full disclosure, the main thing I heard was, just communicate with us. Just talk to us, you know, and having that relationship. I don't know how we can be your community college if we don't do that, right? And I don't know any relationship that's successful. You tell me. I don't know any relationship that's successful without trust. If we don't have trust. And the only way you're going to develop that is to properly communicate. So that's connect. The second is complete. Connect, complete. Increase our program of study completion with a degree or certificate or credential, and completion of projects with our valued community partners and business and industry. You know, we want to expand dual enrollment opportunities. We want to talk to business and industry about internships and apprenticeships and those type things. You know, I was in a meeting in Brookwood a week ago today. It's a totally different service area, but they had a facility down there. It's a new course that we're looking at launching in one of our other service areas that I think would be very good here on the Hamilton campus. It's called Modern Manufacturing. You know, to have that and Pfeiffer Wire sitting at the table in that conversation and telling me that they were named one of the necessary businesses during the pandemic because they produce over 7,200 products. One of them being the little metal strip that goes in the N95 mask that they're sending out worldwide. So their business was obviously rocking and rolling during the pandemic. That if we get this modern manufacturing off of the ground, that they have job opportunities for those kids when they walk out the door. That's the kind of things we're talking about and things that we need to be doing. We can establish those types of partnerships and internships and apprenticeships. So I'd like to talk to business and industry, get them to the table, see what we can do to develop and strengthen some of those partnerships that may be in place. When I took over as assistant superintendent, was director of curriculum, I told this today in our conversation. There was a photograph that stuck out in my mind that I found in the Mobile Press Register. And under it told the story, it was a picture of a kid in his welding gear, his hood and all that. And he was attending school at Alma Bryant in the Mobile area, and he was dually enrolled with Bishop State in that area. That kid, this was back in 2011, 2012, that kid was going to walk across the stage and receive his associates at the same time he got his high school diploma. And he already had a job lined up at Ingle Shipyard. I mean, that's the kind of thing that we're talking about. Testimonial in Pickens County the other day, Jamie Chapman and those guys, they've really got a good thing going on down there. Tell Jamie he's my hero. And in rural Pickens County, he was able to get a one-state sales tax pass where they built a state-of-the-art college and career center. Partnered with us as Bell State, expanded their dual enrollment opportunities. And they've got kids that are on the verge now of graduating, just like that kid down at Alma Bryant, with an associate's at the same time they get their high school diploma. And one of the instructors was telling me about a student. He had gone to get his taxes done on Saturday, and he was walking in. I can't remember the kid's name. I'll just call him Johnny. Johnny was walking out. He said, 19 years old. He said, Johnny, what are you doing here? He said, well, I had to come get my taxes done. I got a job at Premier, and I made $65,000 last year. As a 19-year-old kid. So those high wage, high demand opportunities are out there. We need to be doing those things here in this area, not just in Pickens County, but in Marion County and Walker County and all of our service areas. So that's complete. And the third thing is contribute. These are the words you're going to hear a lot as we move forward with our strategic plan. Contribute just means alumni contributing back to the region. You know, and Bell State Community College contributing to our community at large. If you make that type of investment in a kid, they're going to want to be here. They're going to want to be a part of your community, or they're going to want to come back if you make that type of investment in them. And Mayor Page, and as a city council, if you're recruiting prospective business and industry, I don't know a better recruiting tool than to be able to say to them, you need welders? How many welders do you need? You need electricians? How many do you need? Machinists? What do you need? We have a partnership here with our two-year community college where we can provide those for you. Those are the type of things that we're talking about that we need to do. There's no reason we shouldn't be doing it. I'm just going to throw that gauntlet down today. And we're here to be your partner. We're here to help make those things happen. But I got to emphasize that word partner. Okay? And I know there's been some things I don't even want to get into those. You know, and I was telling Les today, there's a reason why that front windshield is much larger than the back one. We're moving forward. We're going to do the right thing for our students and for this community. And if we keep looking over our shoulder, looking out that back window, we're going to crash. It's time to move forward. That's what I'm here about, and developing that partnership with Bevel State. I hope you'll give me that opportunity. Once again, I know I got some work cut out, but I plan on doing it. So that's kind of the strategic plan process and where we're at. You'll hear those three words over and over again. The other thing I want to discuss with you is Aspire 2030. That was a thorough, most of you know that the state has leveraged a bond, and that money's out there. The K through 12 system has already leveraged that, probably got PSCA numbers attached to it, working on projects. I know I did as superintendent of Walker County School System before I left there. A little more thorough process with the two-year system. And I understand the chancellor doing what he's doing because there's only X amount of dollars to go around, and he wants to make sure he does it fair and he does it right. So phase one of that was a self-evaluation. As I mentioned earlier, just a very thorough analysis. We submitted that, got feedback from the two-year college system. It made its way around to all the different departments down there. And they sent back their feedback. Now it's time to work on phase two. Phase two is where it really gets down to the nitty-gritty, and they will decide what our allocation will be as far as capital projects is concerned. So we're in the process of completing that work. Now it's due before April the 15th at the Chancellor's office. Shortly after that, I hope to hear what our allocation is going to be. Of course, in Belleville service area, that has to be spread amongst the different campuses. But we are really honing in on prioritizing that money. And I have to say, the deferred maintenance issue, these aren't going to be sexy things, but they're necessary things that we're going to have to do. We've got roofs that's got to be repaired or replaced, HVAC systems throughout the service area that needs to be repaired and replaced, the elevators that are not ADA compliant or will not be by 2023. If we don't use this money at this moment in time to take care of that, then it'll be problematic for us down the road. Probably even some installation of some elevators, some safety, some fire alarm systems that are antiquated, outdated, that's got to be brought up to code. Those type things must be taken care of with this money. So as far as new buildings coming off the ground, I hate to say you're probably not going to see a whole lot of that, but we are going to take care of the problems that the deferred maintenance that exist. That's probably what you're going to see with a lot of that money. And we'll just see. I don't know, we may get lucky and get a lot more than I anticipate. I know I'm going to shoot for the moon and ask him, because there's one thing I know that I've learned over the years: if you don't ask, you're certainly not going to get it, right? So we'll see. As your community college, we are your community college. We're here to serve this community. I want to strengthen our connections and our relationships with our communities, our municipalities, our business and industries, our K through 12 partners. That's who we are, that's why we exist. So my door's always open. I talk to Mayor Page often. He send me an email or he'll call me or whatever. I gave some of these folks my card. I've only got one left. I can't believe it. I thought it was full, and I got to looking, I only had like 4 in there. So, but feel free to call me at any time. I've been on campus all day today. There's a president's office on each one of these campuses. I plan on rotating and spending time on each one of them periodically. So the storm, the ice, and the snow kind of screwed us up. We planned on being here a little bit sooner, but today was the day, and I will definitely be back. You can count on it, and look forward to seeing you around in the community, and hopefully setting up some of those meetings in the near future where we can talk about it. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'll entertain any questions you may have.
I do want each of our council to tell you a little bit about themselves and
Absolutely.
give you their names and a little background on them. So we'll start with Scott Robertson at the end and work our way around to Scott Tyra. We got plenty of Scotts in there.
And the Scott back there is the attorney,
That's
right? Okay.
Well, my name is Scott Robertson. I was born and raised right here in Hamilton, Alabama. Kind of a product of Bevel State Community College, if you will, and my wife went to Bevel State as well. I ran basically for this office just to grow Hamilton. And I'm really excited to see you come here and speak to us, and really excited about some of the things that you had to say. My daughter is going to Bevel State right now, so.
Julie had told me that earlier.
Yep.
She's a master. She's one of our masters.
Yeah, it's worked out really well for us.
Awesome.
My name is Wade Williams, glad to be a part of this council and this town. Been here most of my whole life, own my own business. My parents started a business over 40 years ago, and we're still in business today.
Yes, sir.
And my brother-in-law happens to work for Bevel State down there, Shannon Nichols.
Okay, I talked Shannon today, as a matter of fact. Okay.
I think you mentioned having a hospital and having Bevel State here as two of our greatest assets,
Right.
along with the great people that live here. So
Right.
if we can partner anyway, you'll have my full support. I really appreciate you coming, taking your time out to be here, because I know you've got a lot on your plate too, just like we do. But thanks for coming, and I look forward to a long relationship. I'm glad to see that you have plans. It's not going to close, and you got things you want to see it grow. And I want to see things that not everybody's going to go to school for 4 or 5 years. And if you can get a good job in a year or two, that's the thing coming.
Yeah, those
And
highways.
that's going to create a lot of people make good money doing
Yes.
other things. So you don't have to necessarily go for 5 or 6 years. You can
No.
go 2 years and get a really good job.
As a matter of fact, there's a lot of them sitting at home looking for a job. But
Absolutely.
those highways, high demand opportunities, and, you know, welding, electronics, machine tooling, those things, jobs are there. They're there.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Matt Sims, I was born and raised here pretty much my entire life. I lived here. I actually was on a golf scholarship at Bevel, back when we had the golf program there, over at Summerton. So I went to school there for 1 year, and then came back here, and I didn't actually finish at Bevel, but went on to the University of Alabama and received a bachelor's degree. In the insurance business, I'm a partner in family-owned business, Your Insurance Centers, here in Hamilton. And I know that we actually attend a lot of the Home Builders Association meetings, and there was a gentleman that was there, it's been back 6-7 months ago, and he was talking about the trade system, getting your trade, because he said, you can't find an electrician, a plumber, an HVAC guy. Another thing that back in, I guess it was late summer, I started trying to get my pilot's license. And I'm about 20 hours in, and I had to take a break from it. But make a long story short, I didn't realize that aviation was a field that's very difficult. I mean, it's wide open. A lot of older pilots have retired, and my instructor, Jason Evans, who is from here, he lives in Russell right now, and actually has a aviation class at Phil Campbell. And that was one of my things, was about, asking you about if there's a possibility one day maybe we could do an aviation program.
It's possible. I mean, we're always looking at data and regional workforce data, and, is it employable, or does it make our students marketable and employable? Those are the main things.
Right.
we look at.
But again, I appreciate you being here tonight, and like Wade was saying, I'm all for the junior college system and the trades they offer, and getting kids prepared to go on to 4 years if that's what they decide to do. But I just want to see this Bevel grow, and us have a good partnership going forward.
Thank you.
Ross
Mr.
Reed.
Reed?
Yes. As you know, 2-year student, I like you said, I was a product of dual enrollment. I graduated with about 18 hours, so I love that plan.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You brought up about the partnerships. My dad, as you know, he's a welding instructor. I love that plan. I just can't wait to see what we as a council and you as the president and as the community, as you mentioned, we do to really grow our campus down there and put an emphasis on these 2-year jobs. As any of these other guys say, I wrote a couple speeches on the benefit of a 2-year degree because, as you said, it's not for everybody. You know, my dad was a product of a community college and he traveled being a welder. There's jobs out there, like you said. So I look forward to at least the next 4 years and however much longer you're going to stay on as president to see what you can really do with Bevel Hamilton.
Ross, I mentioned earlier, I got an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old. I told them when I took this job, I was on a 10-year plan. Unless they ran me off, I was going to be here. So that's another one of the things too. With Bevel, it's been a revolving door, you know, and it's hard to get any continuity or get anything off the ground if it's continuously. So I plan on being here.
Scott Tyler. I've lived here in Hamilton my whole life. My dad was in education for 30 years here at the central office in different roles, and so I do understand a little bit of the education part of it just from hearing him talk over the years. And but I do know that this college is very important to this community, and not just Hamilton, but Marion County and some of the surrounding counties too. And it provides an excellent opportunity for a young adult to get an education. I work in the manufactured housing industry now for 25 years, and I know it's getting more and more difficult to find good workers. And, you know, and hopefully that might be something that the manufactured housing industry can partner with our college to really educate and provide better workforce for not only manufactured housing, maybe for other industries in this area. But I appreciate you coming and spending some time, and I think a couple things you said, just communication and partnership is what stuck out to me, and I feel like that maybe hadn't been the best in the past. You know, this is my first term in here being on the city council, but I look forward to working with you, and if there's anything we can do, and just keep that open communication between us.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's my goal and what I hope to do moving forward. And I get it. I know that you all, it's very apparent as I've talked to different ones in the community. This is my 3rd time here in Hamilton, and I've met different people each time. The passion and you know, your pride in your school and your community shines through. You know, get that when I go to Fed as well. Bevel State means a lot to these communities, and we're here. You know, we want to have a partnership. We want to see it grow. We want, as I said earlier, to be a catalyst to help you as you are recruiting prospective business and industry to come to the Hamilton area. We want to be that partner with you and help you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
Your visit meant a lot to us tonight. We appreciate you being accessible to us, and we look forward to working with all the folks at the campus, and especially with you as our leader now, and we're going to be for sure calling on you to help us in this community. We're striving to make Hamilton grow again, and it's going to take the partnership. It's going to take all of us working together to make it happen. Small communities have a record of dying right now, and we don't want to be a dying community. We want to be a thriving community. So we're going to be swimming upstream with you and calling on you for a lot of things. So thank you.
We'll be there.
Just be ready when you hear the phone ring.
Yes, sir. We will be.
Thank you, Dr. Haggett. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Okay, we have several additional items on our list tonight. I want to pause just a second before we proceed forward, and I think there's chances that we're going to have another business or phase of business opening. Is that correct, Scott? You told me a little about it.
Yes, sir. I had representatives from the Loves come visit with us last week, and the Tire Center and Speedco, they announced they've gotten everything done with that. OSHA's got them approved to open up, and they are set to open on March 29th.
They'll be selling tires, servicing big trucks, and they're out on the road if
Yeah,
they have a
they're
breakdown.
gonna have two road call crews, basically, that'll work 24/7. And I think the tire center, I forgot the hours, but I think it's something like 6 a.m. to midnight, with the tire center. And, excuse me, the tire center's 24 hours, the speed code, will be, which they do oil changes, light mechanic work, things like that will be open, from like, 5 or 6 a.m. to midnight.
That equates to more jobs.
Exactly, and they are still hiring.
Yes.
They're still looking for several.
More good news for Hamilton. That's good. That's good. All right. We'll proceed forward now with our meeting. We've got down to item 4, and I'd like to recommend that we post a job opening for a receptionist position for the City Hall, Hamilton City Hall. And in order to post that job, we'd need a motion from the council and a second.
I'll make that motion.
Scott Tyra made the motion. We need a second to that motion.
I'll second.
Scott Robinson made the second. All in favor of posting that job? Thank you. We'd like to announce the hiring of Jathan Jackson as a seasonal/temporary worker for the City of Hamilton Street Department. Jathan, of course, will be helping us with our spring patching and our summer paving projects with the street department. He'll be working 19 hours each week, and this is a temporary worker position. And I'd like to recommend that we pay Jathan $10 per hour for his work. I need a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion with Matt, second by Wade. All in favor of that? Thank you. The item 7 is a recommendation to allow the Park and Recreation Director, Tim Kerr, to hire 2 temporary seasonal workers to perform weed eating and trash pickup and various other groundskeeping duties. Previously, we'd had inmate help to do this work, and now we're unable to obtain inmate help from the camp, and would like to allow Tim to proceed with hiring 2 temporaries.
I'll make that motion.
We got a motion for that. We need a second.
I'll second.
Scott made the motion, Ross second. All in favor of hiring 2 temps for the rec department, okay? And then when we get those people hired, the recommended pay for those workers would be $10 per hour also. We need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
Matt made the motion. We need a second.
I'll second that.
Scott Robinson, second. All in favor of that per hour? Thank you. We'd also like to announce the hiring of Mario Wilson as a full-time A-post law enforcement certified police officer for the Hamilton Police Department. Mario comes to us from Walker County, where he is now serving with the Sheriff's Department. He worked his way through the academy at his own expense, and he's certified. We don't have to purchase him from the other agency for him to come here. He comes here free of any debt to the Walker County folks. And I'd like to recommend that we pay him an entry position of $16.81 per hour for his wages. We need a motion for that.
Mr. Mayor, I would feel more comfortable voting on this if we had time to talk with Chief Vickery. This was kind of just, none of us knew that this was going to be on the agenda until we got the agenda. I know that we had discussed that he wanted 4 officers, and we were under the impression, and he hired 3, and now wrote this, but we still, I think, I would like time to talk to the chief before we hired. Nothing against this man, gentleman. I just would like time to talk with the chief to make sure some arrangements are right, because I know they're having some vehicles, they need to move around with things like that. That's my opinion. But if it suits the council, we can vote tonight.
Mayor, have you talked to this gentleman?
Pardon?
Have you talked to this gentleman and?
Yes, he brought him to see me. I interviewed him. I understood we were still trying to fill a role. He filled the role well. I'm for hiring Mr. Wilson.
I'd like to make a motion to hire Ms. Wilson.
Okay. The hiring's been done. I do the hiring.
I'll second that.
We'll need a motion to pay Mr. Wilson, $16.81 per hour.
And he's coming in at the entry level? Or,
Yeah.
Yes, for a certified,
For certified.
ECHO certified.
I agree with Ross. I wish we'd known about
Yeah.
it before, but I'm not gonna vote against the man. I think if you recommend him and you met him, obviously you have faith in him, you know, that's your position, but.
I said in an interview,
I just like to give him a heads up before we get on the meeting, if we do this again, for sure.
y'all want to do the interview
No, I
at
don't
the
wanna
police
do it.
department?
No, sir. I'm not asking that.
No, but I just like a heads up,
Where we going here?
well, I'm just saying that.
We got a motion second to hire him. so,
Yeah.
I mean, pay.
what the pay?
So we
Well,
can-
we're not against the pay.
We're not against the
of
pay.
hiring by
Hiring,
any means.
just,
We just wanted a little bit of a heads up to know, the agenda before, kind of, and I looked at the agenda yesterday. We're not throwing any blame anywhere.
No.
We don't want to overstep in any way. We were just wanting, a little more heads up. We're all on board to hire and pay the man the recommended pay tonight.
I make a motion, we pay him at $16.81 and.
We have a motion. We need a second.
I'll second that.
Got a second. Those in favor of paying Mr. Wilson his wages? Thank you. Recommendation to allow Porter and Higginbotham engineers to proceed with the bid process for service road repairs and paving project, including curb and gutter for the street front of the Love's Truck Stop. And we need a motion to proceed with that plan.
I'll make the motion.
Ross made the motion. We need a second.
I'll second.
Scott made a second. Those in favor of proceeding? Thank you. The curb and gutter is gonna add a good bit of additional expense to the project, but it will look much better. It'll be first class.
Going all the way down to like the whole house, Key West.
Let's start the.
The pavement ends down there, right at the head.
Gutter goes down that far.
I believe we agreed to do the whole road.
Well, I just believe if we do it, we're done with it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's,
I missed it first
Make
part of
it-
that meeting, so I didn't know how far.
right, just
Yeah.
that way it all looks neat and it's done.
But because if we don't, it's, how everything is, it's downgrade. And I'd hate for us to flood something out, at the gas station or the whole house.
Okay.
Scott, have you looked at the new act that was just passed by our government? I understand Hamilton's in line for $1,224,000 in funds out of that. Is there any possibility that we can divert any of that money toward this project?
I think there's still some question about the guidance on what all can be done with that money as right now, so I wouldn't want to commit any of it to this project, because it has to have some relation to COVID. But if they give us a little broader swath with it, then maybe we can use it, release part of it, but that's a big question right now, is what all can be used.
I think we'll be able to pay for it anyway, but
No, it'd be great if we could.
that would be a nice thing if we divert some of those funds. Will you look into it for us? Thank you. Okay, then we voted to proceed with that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, item 12 is a recommendation to join the Northwest Alabama Economic Development Alliance C3 for an annual membership of $25,000 each year for the economic development marketing of the city of Hamilton. A while back we were talking and some of you guys said you'd like to meet the new leader or director of the C3 before we bring this to vote, and I've let it get on the agenda. If I'm ahead of myself, just tell me so, and we'll take this up.
Well, I just feel like that was our conversation the other day, and I'd like to table it till we meet the new gentleman, and that way we can ask some questions and get a better understanding and see what his thoughts and plans are.
After I had this put on the agenda, I realized that we'd had that conversation, and I'm sorry that it was already got on there, so I wanted to give y'all an opportunity to discuss it before we bring it to a vote. And if your wishes, if you want to make a motion to table it, and we'll vote on that. I mean,
Jamie, when does he come?
April 12th. So, and you know, may take him a little while to settle in also, so.
there was a press release that Jamie put out today. The gentleman's out of Ohio. He's had some experience and looked like some success according to the press release that I read. But I really like to know somebody if I'm going to follow them myself. And I mean, you guys act on this the way you want to do tonight. We'll go accordingly.
Can I say anything?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I hate for you all to make a decision about this organization based on one person. Even though he will be a leader in the organization, we work as a team, and we also work with our board. And we have a total of 18 board slots. We have 15 filled right now. We've got 3 that need to be filled. But this is definitely a team effort. This is not, we don't want everything to be on his back. This is a team effort with all of you, every community that we work with. It's also a team effort with organizations like Bevel State Community College. Everything that Dr. Haygood was talking about is exactly on track with what we do. Every prospect that we speak to, whether we bring them in here, whether we email back and forth with them, whether we talk with them through another firm, site selector or whatever, that's one of the #1 things that we push here is Bevel State Community College. You know, they can custom, design a class for you to train workers that you need. You know, if we don't have the exact labor force that you need, we can get it for you. We've got the people, we may just have to teach the skill. So I don't want you to think, I hate for you to table it too long, because I feel like you're just placing it on one person. I'm not sure what he is going to come in here and say any different than what I've already said and what we've been saying for the past 10 years. I think our record, speaks for itself, not only in Hamilton and Marion County, but also Fayette and Lamar County. And so I respectfully ask that you go ahead and vote on it tonight, but if you don't, then we'll live with it and we'll get him up here as quick as we can.
I mean, I personally support for the C3. I think that it's vital that we be a part of C3, whether it be tonight or in the near future. But that's my take.
Jamie, it's nothing against, the C3 anything. I just like to maybe when he gets in, let us meet with him and just to talk with him. And
yeah, I mean, I absolutely, we'll set up a meeting with y'all, whatever, I mean, we would want to do that anyway. But I don't understand, I guess, putting off a vote, whether you want to join or not based on sitting down with him. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, when he gets here, we need to hit the ground running, not be asking, you know, for your membership. I want to say, this is, you know, a city of Hamilton, you know, we got to work with these, you know, guys, and they're excited about growing their community, and we need to meet with them and see what we can come up with together. I don't want it to be a meeting of asking you again for the membership that I feel like I've already asked for.
Right. I just like to table this motion right now or this number 12 till we do meet him and just be able to talk to him. So I'm making that as a motion to table this.
We have a motion to table this item. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second. Any further discussion?
Well, obviously, we all want to be on the same page. And if we're not on the same page tonight, let's wait till we are on the same page, because we need to look forward united if we're gonna do this and not be 3, 2, 4, you know, let's be united and make sure this is what we wanna do. And so I respect your opinion about that, and that's what you wanna do, that's fine with me. Because I want us to be together, you know, let's not do something that we're divided. Because we want this guy to feel welcome to Marion County, wherever he's gonna live. I hope it's around here pretty close, but, you know, that's up to somebody else. But if we're gonna do this, let's
He is
do it
looking at
together.
Hamilton.
Okay, good
He's
deal.
gonna be renting a house here,
Good deal.
so, but hooks to buy, you know, as soon as they find something.
Let's do that.
Yeah, I agree. We need to be one on this.
Yeah. We need to vote.
Okay, we're ready to vote then. Those in favor of tabling the motion, just raise your right hand. That'll be 100%. Okay, we'll come back to that. We're not through with it. We do want to meet the new director.
Sure.
And we understand the board is right there with him, and you're
Yes.
a viable member of the team, Jamie, and we appreciate everything. We just want to be sure that we're all united on this front. I'm also gonna ask you to table item, I want to show y'all the proposals. This camera thing, if we do all cameras, it's like $125,000, but just to put cameras where we have the torn up coils is about $36,000. So I didn't get that from Mike till this morning. John didn't get it into me till today, and I just didn't have time for you guys to really look at it. But if you want to come back to this item next meeting, doing the entire town with the cameras is more expensive than I dreamed, but I'm not opposed to it. If you want to spend $125,000 on a more elaborate system and cameras, or if you want to fix the problems that exist right now with about $36,000, or if you don't want to do any of the above, I think we might need to look at it some more. So if it's all right with y'all, we're gonna not vote on this item tonight. If you want to run quickly and get that out of my office for your review, I'll let you look at it now. If you want to.
2 weeks, not gonna make that motion.
Okay, can we get a motion then to table that item?
I'll make the motion.
Ross made the motion, we need a second.
I'll say.
Wade second, all in favor of tabling item 13. Thank you. Item 14, Rodney, I need you to come front and talk to us about item 14. This is a recommendation to allow the Water Department Supervisor, Rodney Williams, to purchase a new generator for the water treatment plant. After evaluation of several options, Mr. Williams has chosen to purchase a generator from Taylor Power Systems in the amount of $74,200. Now, Rodney, if you will, kind of go over what we've done to try to arrive at this position to be ready to purchase this generator.
To give you a little history, I had, I explained to y'all back in the work session when a couple of weeks before the ice storm hit that Alabama Power has contractors up there around the water plant doing some new transmission lines, and we lost power at the water plant, and the generator did not kick on. So I had the group out of Taylor Power Equipment to come up and assess the generator, and he, at that time, told me that the generator was not gonna run, had some problems with a diesel engine on it. So, in the meantime, I knew we had to get something in place, so I went ahead and signed an agreement with them to bring us a rental generator to the plant. And that rental generator is in place now. And that also came from Taylor Power Equipment. And of course, luckily at that point, the power was not off, but just a short period of time, and it came back on, and we started the plant back up. But I knew the ice storm was coming, and we had to have something in place to be ready for it. And luckily, we did use it for about 3 days there. We used generator power. And the guy from Taylor Power Equipment told me at that point that there was some internal damage in the diesel engine on the generator. And he suggested at that point not to spend the money on rebuilding the engine. He said he just wouldn't put that kind of money in a 30-year-old generator. So that builds us up to where we was at the work session when I was talking to y'all about this. And thanks to Councilman Scott Robertson with his connection, he got us in touch with a diesel company out of Tupelo that came up and evaluated the generator last Thursday. I met him up at the plant, and he actually cranked the generator up, and it was running, and it started out with black smoke coming out, and then all of a sudden white smoke started boiling out of it. So he did his evaluation on the generator and come to the conclusion that injectors were bad in the generator on both sides of the engine. I actually took some pictures. We had oil coming out of the air tubes that's in each side of the block on the engine, the diesel engine. And actually diesel fuel was coming out of both air tubes. So that was an indication that the injectors were bad. And at that point, he told me, he said, we know, the known part is we know the injectors are bad. The unknown part is what else is bad in that diesel engine. And he told me that on Thursday. He said if this generator was 10 years old, I would suggest having it rebuilt, having the engine rebuilt. But he said, it being 30 years old, he said, you probably got components on this generator that's obsolete already. So basically, he suggested we purchase a new generator. And that was the second opinion we got on it, which I'm glad we got that second opinion, because that proved what Taylor Power Equipment told me. So that's kind of where we're at now.
Two things we'll avoid by purchasing a generator, and that's $10,000 a month rent that they're gonna charge us if we keep renting the machine. Also, this machine's gotta be disassembled if we get it repaired, sent to Kentucky. And we're gonna have to have a major crane to come in there and move it. And we're gonna have it shipped, and we're gonna have it brought back, reinstalled, rewired, and we don't know if our triggering mechanism in that generator is gonna have to be replaced. Rodney thinks it is.
This price we got on this generator is included with it is a brand new automatic transfer switch that'll be mounted inside the plant that automatically switches it over when the power goes off and automatically switches back when the power comes back on. We've had some issues with our automatic transfer switch as well, and that price includes a new one.
Does it include removing existing?
This price does not include install. We're gonna have to pay an electrician to come in and install all this stuff.
What about the one we got now? We gotta pay somebody to move it?
Well, it would be, it would still be there, but I mean, they would uninstall it, I guess, and install a new one.
So the old one's still gonna be there somewhere, just
Yeah.
either move it out of the way or disassemble it or something.
And I don't know really if, I asked about a trade-in on that one. They pretty much told me they'd give you a scrap metal price for it. So that's where we're at.
We can sell it by the pound.
Yeah, sell it by the pound.
It's worth a shot.
Hey, like Dr. Haygood said, if you don't ask, you won't get it.
Anyway, we can make barbecue grill out of it or something. Anyway, with all that heard, we're, Rodney and I are asking for a motion to purchase a generator. We really gotta have one in our water treatment plant.
Did I understand you right, if we purchase this from them, are they gonna credit the rent back?
No,
Or some
what
rent?
they're gonna do, what they did, I called when I got the contract and saw that it was $10,000 a month to rent it. I called, the guy that actually came up to the plant, and he told me, he says, I'm gonna redo that. You're not gonna be paying $10,000 a month on this generator. And we haven't paid anything yet, but, and then the other guy called me from Taylor Power Equipment. He said, if you tell me that y'all are gonna purchase a generator, and you're gonna purchase it from us, we're gonna work with you on this rental price. It's not gonna be anywhere close to that.
We don't know what it's gonna cost. It's gonna be less.
They haven't given me a definite.
The first bill we saw was $10,000 a month, but
And
we haven't paid it yet.
I told him it was gonna be on the agenda tonight at the council meeting, and he said that's good enough for me. So,
I don't really think it's necessarily a bribe to do business with them. These are the people that serviced us all these years. They're professional folks. I think they're just gonna work with us on that price.
Sure.
That's what regular pricing is.
his statement to me was, we still want your business, so. And they've been good to us. Every time we call them when we've had an issue, they've had a guy up here within 3-4 hours.
We really wanted gas, but gas is so much more expensive than this diesel. It's about double what we're gonna pay for the diesel. And this diesel's lasted us over 30 years.
He's talking about natural gas. I got a price on a natural gas one, but yes, out of the ballpark.
Natural gas generator wasn't priced to us as one generator. It was two linked together to make that much thrust or that much power. Anyway, the recommendation's on the floor.
I'll make a recommendation, motion.
Scott made a motion that we go ahead with the purchase. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ross seconded. Those in favor of purchasing the generator for our water treatment? Thank you. I think this is valuable to us for the future and a good move on our part and your part to go forward with it. Item 15, this is a long agenda. A recommendation to allow architect Andrea Arvison, Clement Arvison, to proceed with the bid process for the restoration project for the Hamilton Sullins House. And would like to get her to put this out for bids for us. We need a motion on that matter.
I'll make the motion.
Ross made that motion. We need a second.
Second.
Wade second. Those in favor of putting this out for bid, thank you. Any further business tonight? Scott, you got anything for us?
No, sir.
I'd just like to clarify something on, items, I think like 6 and 7, when we talked about temporary seasonal people. I put that in there so we can work them more than 19 hours. As long as we don't work them for like a year, we can work them even a 40-hour week if need be.
Okay.
So we can.
As long
work
as
them.
they're seasonal.
That's right.
Okay.
As long as we noted that they're seasonal temporary.
Releases, I thought we were gonna have to offer benefits if we worked them more than 19 hours.
If we didn't have it listed that they're seasonal temporary and that's how y'all are hiring them in and that's the way it's.
That's good news. That's the best news I've
That's
heard.
right.
And you're gonna post the secretary receptionist job? Okay.
And that job is not a new position. We kind of had that when we moved to this building.
Right.
But we hired Sheila Ferdina, to answer the phone. Well, then we had one retire in the water administration office, and then we had one that resigned. So Sheila went to one place, and then we had hired Jeannie to take her place, so Jeannie went to the other, and that left us short with that person. So it's not really a new position.
Right.
We're just filling it again.
We've had some ladies wear more than one hat. They've been going in all directions. Yeah, we need somebody on that phone all the time because they're not only taking work orders for the street department, they're directing traffic in all directions, and the phone rings constantly. We just gotta have a receptionist. I appreciate y'all letting us post that job very much. There's no other business we need a motion to adjourn.
I was at the ball games you were talking about, and I've been going to a lot of ball games. I'm enjoying myself immensely. You leave from subbing, you need something that will lift you up. But you go over there, and I don't know who all takes care of our fields, Tim, but I hear a lot of people bragging about how good our fields look. Makes me feel good. They brag on how good they look, and they do. They look great. So they're doing a great job. But if you want to go to calm, stay at the baseball field. If you want to go to where it gets a little rowdy, especially like Saturday, go to the softball field. Those people are tough. They're tough, and they're getting on people, and they're eating on people. But our fields look good, and our facilities look great.
So which one do you go to?
Thank you, Lena.
I go to the softball to start with, and then I went over to the baseball, just the calming. It was kind of neat. We had Muscle Shoals was there, and one of the greatest all-sport Aggies, in my opinion, Paul Ellis, is their coach. Of course, we beat him, and he wasn't very happy, but got to see him, got to visit. But our facilities look great. They look great. A lot of people are putting a lot of time and a lot of work, and it shows. And other people realize it. They were commenting on how good our fields looked. I like to hear it.
Thanks, Les.
That reminds me, Mr. Lesbert, I wanted to congratulate her. They done a phenomenal job Saturday, and our own Eli Jackson, he pitched a no-hitter against Muscle Shoals. Big congratulations to him and Coach Williams and his team.
I have one last thing. Les, I've known you, well, you know how long I've known you. I didn't realize that you probably already told me this, but 1979 was the same year I was born. And
that just shows how old.
But that's not my point. The CJs, or was it? Yeah, I know it was JCs, but then you switched off.
CJs. Yeah.
I have so many memories.
He and I were talking about that being the haunted houses.
Oh yes.
And the CJs were the masters of
The
the haunted house.
And then we had the womenless.
We did that, yeah, we couldn't get away with that today.
And the donkeys, the donkey basketball game.
Basketball, we never did mud wrestling, never. But we did down in Hewitt.
But y'all did have a UNA West Alabama football game.
We did.
And sweat. I know there were some bullets that were sweating.
We had a lot of wild, good times, and I think we did a lot of good. He got me in the most trouble with my wife because I brought him in to our haunted house, and he was Santa Claus. And there was Old Deadly Night, and there was a Santa Claus axe murderer, and I said, this would be perfect. Boy, Sherry got mad. He was great. He would come out from behind the Christmas tree. Those children, I guarantee you, those parents saved money that year on gifts.
I just will say that I remember that y'all had a good haunted house.
We did.
Yeah.
But it was on the verge of getting out of control.
So is this me.
I just wanted to say congratulations.
Santa murdering.
Have a lot of fun memories from you throughout the years, and I wish you nothing but a happy retirement.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Les. Do we have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
We got a motion. Got
I'll
a
second
second?
that.
Got a second. All those in favor? Thank you. Appreciate it, buddy.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/49 County News TV.